Okay, we are at week 14. It is clinching time again, maybe. Uh, Hey, we get to watch the frauds. The most illegitimate 10-2 team in the history of the National Football League. Complete frauds. They're no good at all, and we get to watch them because that's our team. Um, I'm still very pissed about this. The the I guess the reputation of this team, completely undeserved, but I've already ranted about that. This is about the game. Um, we are still underdogs. I checked the line just before I did this. It's now two. We're now 2 point dogs. I think it been up at like four. But now it's down to two because maybe a few other people are realizing maybe this is stupid that we have a 10-2 team being an underdog at a 5-win team, even a 5-win team that's played a little better like Detroit. Um, and I think this is probably the toughest game we have left. Because you don't know. I mean, who knows? The last 2 weeks at Green Bay, at Chicago, who knows what state either of those teams are going to be in? Who's going to be quarterbacking? We have no idea. Um, and there's certainly a possibility that those games don't really mean a lot to the Vikings by the time we get there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think this is the toughest game we have left. I mean, after this, we come home, we get the Colts and the Giants. I mean, neither of those teams are better than the Jets. I don't think that we just beat. Certainly not better than Buffalo, who we beat. Um, I'm not too like nervous about this game, this Detroit game, just because if we lose, it might not even hurt us much in the seeding race, and then we get to come home next Saturday and beat the Colts and clinch at home, which would be fun too. Um, but this game, like, yeah, I think this will be a tough game. Like, not just a tough game in the sense that hey, the Vikings like to make games tougher than they need to be. No, I think this will be a tough game. I mean, Detroit can score. Like they almost beat us here, and granted that was a long time ago, but they did almost beat us here, and they haven't beaten good teams in this stretch where they've I think they won 3 out of 4. They beat the Jags and a couple other bad teams in Chicago in there. Um, and of course, they lost to Buffalo. But we're watching some of that game. The Lions were getting more credit for losing to Buffalo than the Vikings were getting for beating Buffalo in Buffalo. But Detroit's on the fringe of the playoffs. Like basically every team that's like Detroit or below, they would have to probably win out to have any chance at making the playoffs because you got Seattle right now. Right now, the three are Giants, Washington, or no, Dallas. But Dallas, we don't even count Dallas because Dallas is so far ahead. They're gonna get in. So it's basically just the 6 and 7. And right now that's Giants and Seattle with Washington right on the out, right on the out. And I think they have what do they got now? 6 losses or 5 losses, either 5 or 6. And no one else has um, fewer than 7 losses. And I believe Detroit is the top of those teams. So if you could follow all that word salad that I just did, Detroit's basically playing for their season every week from this point out. Because if they lose another game, I don't think a 9-8 team's getting in. And of course, he had that tie last week with the Giants and the Commies, so that might simplify the any tiebreakers very easily. Um, but yeah, so all these teams basically have to win out. So this is their season. Detroit will in this game. Detroit needs this game a whole lot more than the Vikings do. That's just the reality. I mean, the Vikings need, it's an important game for the Vikings. But we're just dealing with seeding because we are going to clinch the division. It's just a matter of which week it happens. Because we're not going to lose out and Detroit is not going to win out. So it's going to happen at some point. Um, but this will be a tough game because they're gonna give us everything that they can, and maybe it helps a little bit that our defense kind of makes everybody look really good. Every offense look really good, and Detroit's already good, so or has certainly been good lately. They had a little they were good early, then they had a little bit of a lull on offense, and now they've kind of picked it up again. So they'll score some points, but we're used to teams scoring points. I think what will help the Vikings this week is we're not facing a top defense. This is the first time since like October that we haven't faced a really good defense because we got Washington, Buffalo, Dallas, Patriots, Jets in a row. Those are all good defenses, good to great defenses, some of the best in the NFL. And I'm aware that we had the the Dallas game, but the rest of the games we did pretty damn good on offense. We were able to score some points. I certainly think they're going to be able to score some points against Detroit. So I certainly expect this to be a shootout, and we've kind of made these games shootouts even when they didn't need to be shootouts. But I think this will be a legit shootout. Like, yeah, it's and it'll come down to the wire because that's what we do. I at this point I hope we just win every single game the rest of the way through the playoffs, through the Super Bowl by one score. Just keep doing it, and then just to see what the disrespecters and the haters say. But as far as this game, injury wise, Dantzler's back. That's the big one. He'll be back for the first time in a month. Uh, Darisaw, maybe he's listed as questionable. I feel like you could probably wait. Keep kind of kick the can down the road with him a little bit, because you don't if you put him back out there when he's not 100% ready to go and he gets another concussion, then you're probably talking his whole season. Um, and Blake Brandle's been okay. Like if he can handle, if he can stand up okay against some of these defenses that we faced, I think you can put him out there against the Lions too. Um, but yeah, he might play. Uh, Bullard went on the IR, so he's out for a while. I don't know if it's a season thing for him. They put a Caleb Evans on the IR. He got a he had another concussion situation. These damn concussions are starting to crop up on us here. Um, we had some guys who were sick this week, mystery illness, probably the flu or something. I don't think I think if it was like a COVID type of thing, I think we would have heard that. I think that would have gotten out. So it's probably just like a flu bug or something. I think most of those guys are going to play. I think Harrison Smith was listed as questionable, so but I'm sure he'll go. We had one other guy is questionable. I forget who. But yeah, we had like 5 or 6 guys who were out sick, but I think they'll basically play. And let's see. So yeah, I mean, health wise, again, we're still doing pretty good for a team heading into week 14. We're still doing pretty good on the health front. Zadarius is ready to go. I mean, he's been battling stuff all season basically, but he's a gamer. So we're going in pretty healthy. We're a little shorthanded maybe on defense. I don't know how much of a loss Bullard is. I mean, interior D line, they don't stand out that much. And we've had a couple guys who have gotten in there, as backups who have played pretty well. But look, Detroit's going to score points on us. It doesn't matter who we're facing. We have already faced some mediocre to bad offenses recently and made them look pretty good, especially the last couple weeks. And I expect us to give up a lot of points. I think this is going to be in the 30s. I think I wouldn't be a bit surprised if this is like a 34-31 type of game. And the disrespect that the Vikings get, but has driven me insane. But it's also this is kind of a lose-lose spot for the Vikings anyway, because even with them being underdogs and being, people talk about like, oh, they're for sure they're going to lose to the Lions because the Lions are better for reasons that whatever don't make sense to me. But um, if we win, everyone's then going to turn around and say, oh, it's just the Lions. Just like last week, everyone was hyping up Mike White as the second coming of Joe Namath for a week, and then we beat them, and then suddenly it's, oh, well, Mike White's no good. It's just the Jets. It'll be the same thing this week. It'll just be, oh, well, it's just the Lions. Who cares if you won? And then if we lose, everyone who's been calling us frauds and one and done in the playoffs and saying that we're not any good, they'll just be like emboldened and be like, say, hey, see, we told you. They're no good. They just lost to the Detroit Lions, who have a losing record. But I hope we don't. I would much prefer to just get this thing done. They're going to get the division done, but let's just get it done. Let's just get it done this week. Whatever way you win it. The smart people, the people who actually understand football a little bit, they know that the Vikings winning all these close games is not a sign of weakness. It is a strength to be able to do this. It is a strength to play your best football week after week after week in the fourth quarter. Um, but a lot of idiots don't understand that. But this will be another game though where you know it'll probably be kind of back and forth. But boy, if we get to the fourth quarter and it's a close game, which I certainly expect, I will have confidence that this team is going to get it done. Um, and there's always the possibility that the Lions are going to do something Lionsy, um, like they did. I mean, the first win of our win streak was a game where we had a 10-point fourth quarter comeback, and we were helped out a little bit by Dan Campbell going for fourth down or two they maybe shouldn't have done, maybe some clock management issues. Um, there's always the possibility that that will happen. Um, I think we'll win this game on merit. I do think the Vikings are going to win. I hope that they're as pissed as some fans like me are who see and hear this disrespect and use it as bulletin board material. And you know, I mean, I don't think there's a literal bulletin board anymore. That might have happened in the past, but um, I'm sure they hear and see some of this stuff, even if you're really closed off from it, like some coaches and players I'm sure are. But they've got to hear or see some of this stuff and be like, this is ridiculous. We're 10-2 against one of the toughest schedules in the league. It's a top 10 strength of schedule by basically all measures. Now that's going to slip in the last 5 weeks because we only have one game left against a team with a winning record, and that's the Giants, and they might end up barely with a winning record. So our overall strength of schedule will go down, but you know, hopefully our record stays the same. Like I don't think we're going 15-2. It's possible. I mean, I certainly don't think. I mean, there's a pretty good chance that we might be favored in the rest of our games after this week. I mean, although the way the odds makers fucked us this week, who knows? But yeah, I think we'll get it done this week, and we might get a little help in some of the other areas. The Eagles have the Giants, I believe, on the road, which might be it's a division road game. Just same with the Vikings. Division road games are tough. Maybe they'll get them. And the 49ers are playing Tampa, so with their third string quarterback, so there's a chance 49ers might lose and solidify us even more as a top 2 seed. I'm still focused on that 2 seed, because now if San Francisco's going to still get in, but if they get in the division champion and you win, then maybe that second playoff game you're hosting a 49er team with a third string quarterback, which wouldn't be too imposing. But of course, we would make Brock Purdy look like Joe Montana, because that's just what we do. But again, that's still ways off. And yeah, I think we'll get this done. I hope we'll get this done. I mean, again, worst case scenario is we lose this game, but we come back home and face the Colts next Saturday, and pretty damn good chance I think that we would win that game, even on a short week. I mean, it'd be a short week for the Colts too. I don't even know who the Colts are playing this week. I'm not too focused on the Colts schedule, but we would have, I would think, a pretty damn good shot at winning that game, clinching at home, which would be nice. But let's clinch in Detroit. Let's have I mean, I say an emphatic win. We won't do an emphatic win because we don't do that. But if we win in Detroit, settle this issue right now, that would be pretty satisfying, and let the haters say whatever they want to say, even if we have to eke out another win, even if we have to make another fourth quarter comeback, Kirk Chains doing his thing, whatever. I think we'll get it done. It'll be a close one, 34-31. I think I have said everything else that I need to say, so let's get this thing done.